Pleasant evening to one and all. I once again welcome you all to Vista 2021, presented by Bank of Baroda, co-powered by Cloud Files. We are extremely excited to have amidst us today none other than Mr. S.S. Rajamouli. He is known for directing fantasy works such as Magadheera, Eega, and Baahubali the Beginning, which became the highest grossing Indian movie within India, the second highest grossing Indian film globally, the first South Indian movie to cross over rupees 650 crores worldwide, and also the first non-Hindi film to gross over 100 crore in the dubbed Hindi version. It left everyone wondering, Katappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara? Which was answered in Bahubali, the conclusion. This onset a record collection of $5 billion, 5 billion rupees before the release of film through satellite and theatrical rights. Mr. Rajamouli has garnered several awards, including 2 National Film Awards, 3 Filmfare Awards, 3 State Nandi Awards, the IFA Award, and the Star World India Entertainer of the Year in 2012. In 2016, he was honored with the Padma Shree, India's fourth highest civilian honor for his contribution towards the field of art. Today, Sir will be talking about the confluence of filmmaking and marketing with the great knowledge he must have gained handling over 3,600 crore words projects. The session will be moderated by Professor YLR Murthy, the Professor of Marketing at IIM Bangalore. So without further ado, I request Professor to take over and please welcome the man himself, Mr. S.S. Rajamouli.
You're able to hear me?
Thank you.
You're able to hear me?
Yes, Mr. Murthy.
Yes, sir. Okay. Namas Sumanjalulu. And the rest of it has to be in English. Otherwise, 9 out of 10 will switch off. Right. Yeah. I mean, we have to. Let's see. Yeah. Now, I was just wondering, I can understand why you're here. I'm just wondering why I am here. I mean, as a mega director, I can see you be here. But I think point being, when profs lose some hair, they seem their credibility seems to be inversely proportional to the hair they have. So I qualify by for two reasons, I suppose. One is white hair and the other is no hair. I qualify by both. That must be the reason I'm here. So we'll start off. Welcome, sir. And let me start with the obvious things. You so far directed 12, 13 movies. How many?
I don't remember actually. I don't exactly.
That's the number I see. I mean, I don't know. That's the number I saw. But somewhere around that?
Yeah. Yes, sure. Yes.
All of them were hits?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. By your standards, is anything a flop?
Hit and flop are quite subjective. If you're talking about just monetary part of it, yes, all of them made money. Some more, some less, but they made profits for all the parties involved. But if you're talking about, are you satisfied with the product that I have made, then no, there are many parts in the films that I'm not happy with, in all the films that I have made so far.
Okay. One part you want to share where you were not very happy? Because we all know what we are happy with. So.
And I mean that there will be many. It's not just one thing. There will be many, but it's like small parts. Usually the visual effects part of it, especially when I really started getting into visual effects a little bit more. In film Chhatrapati, I used a shark episode. It was a bit over ambitious for the time, for the money that I had. It was over ambitious, so I should have stopped. I shouldn't have done it, but I still went ahead and did it, and it came out very bad. Like that, there will be many instances.
Okay. See are you with me or you're hanging? Oh yeah, you're okay now. Right. So your illustrious predecessor.
Hello, can you hear me? It looks like
I can. Your illustrious predecessor, Mr. Dasar Narayan Rao, who was one of the ace directors like you in Telugu. You heard me, Mr. Rajamouli? You heard me?
Yeah, I just heard the sentence about Dasar Narayan Rao Garu.
Yeah. He was like,
yeah.
I mean, if he made 13 movies in a row or something which were big time hits and so on, And he was asked what was his secret, of getting, how does he get audience into the movie hall? And apparently he said, if a man comes in, he comes in. If a kid comes in, he comes in. But if a lady comes in, he comes in. She comes in with the other two anyway. So what she meant was, you get the housewife in, the man and the kid will come anyway. That was his story. Roughly, he was saying
Sorry, I'm losing you. I'm not able to hear your questions.
Are you able to hear now?
Yeah, but in between the question is, the video is hanging up. I'm not able to get it in full.
Now, are you able to hear me?
Are you able to hear? Is my feed good?
I think there is fluctuation from that side also.
Is my feed good?
So I think there's problem from your side, Rajamouli sir. You're getting stuck for all of us.
Yeah, you're getting stuck sometimes. Yeah.
Rajamouli, you're getting stuck for all of us. So I think there's a problem at your end.
My end?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
That's some issue.
Yeah, I don't know why they gave me some dongle and we are using it. I'll just try to switch on to 4G and see if it helps any way.
Sure, sir.
I switched on the mobile data also. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, that's fine. Shall we start?
Yeah. Let's try.
Okay, right. So the question I was asking was, Mr. Dasari was saying that how was he getting audience into the movie halls? And he was saying that if you get the housewife, then you don't need to aim anybody else because the man and the kid will come with her anyway. He said that straight actually gives me a threefold kind of revenue. So in other words, the long and short of it is very simply this, that, to put it in the jargon of our B school students, his target segment was the housewife. What is your secret sauce?
Well, I don't know. When I start making a story, when I start developing a story, or when I get into the details of the story, I'll be looking at what excites me. I don't look at what excites the people. I don't look at what kind of audiences will be liking these kind of scenes. I look at myself, my excitement level. Only if I get excited to the fullest level, then I go forward. So the target audience is me, myself.
Right. That sounds pretty much like Ram Gopal Verma's answer. Yeah,
He
would say exactly the same thing, but it's interesting. Fine. The Rajamouli, Karan Johar, Manmohan Desai, they're on a different league. The point really one is making is, if you look at the rest of the films in India, I mean, how does that stand? Because I was surprised to see pre-COVID, 2000 films were supposed to be released. I think half of them were not released at all. And of those that were released, half of them were flops. And some 20% of them were hits, and the rest barely make money. Are you with us, sir? You're able to hear me?
I'm getting stuck again, please.
There is some problem on your side, because I think the video is there is some issue on that side, because I think we got you now.
To hear the question.
Yeah, quickly. The question is, if you look at the movies, one half of them don't get released.
Yeah, okay.
Of the ones that are released, half of them flop.
Yes.
1/5 of them actually make big money. 1/5 make hit pay dirt, as it were.
Yes.
And the rest of them barely recover their money. Now, what does this say about the movie industry as a whole? And this is Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, all woods put together. I mean, what does that tell us about the movie making itself in India?
Yeah, that's a big question mark. Like, how does the film industry survive? Because from the start, from the onset of making films, the industries have been losing money every year. They never made money any single financial year. Every year they lose money. It's a big surprise how we do survive. But it is because the people who invest the money, whether it's the exhibitors, whether it's the distributors who buy the films, or whether it's the producers who produce the movies, wherever the money comes from, there are always, every year there are newcomers who come in, put their money, hardly make any movies, hardly make any money, and they move out, and the newcomers will be coming in. For the producer to survive in the industry, he has to be really financially, what do you say, capable, not capable. Capable is not the right word. Efficient or disciplined. The financial discipline has to be on a very high level. So it's a creative field. So you tend to give freedom for creativity, but at the same time you need to look at your finances. No, not let just one blink of an eye you can lose lakhs and crores, just slip away through the fingers. So that financial discipline is very important. Many people, 90% of the people don't have the discipline. They just come in for the glamour part of it, and start losing money.
Yeah, so it could be called financial innocence. I mean, probably not really knowing how to. Yeah, in some sense, not having some discipline and so on. That's possible.
Yeah, discipline.
But then,
I would.
Yeah, please go on. Sorry.
No, I would put it. Discipline is the right word. Financial discipline is the right word for that. Yes.
Right. Fine. But maybe the film industry can take heart, and this is for Abhi's school guys. It's said generally that 1 out of 10 launches, product or service launches, take off. So in that sense, probably the film industry is not badly off. And 3 out of 10, apparently Hollywood movies, I read this long back. That number itself is small. So there is something about the entertainment industry that I think it gets in a lot of people who probably are not really as good as they think they are. And that's the reason a whole lot of people probably burn hands. Or maybe that's the nature of the industry.
Yeah, because see, the art film is very young. The painting, the other arts, other form arts, music, painting, you take whatever, dance, everything has been there for thousands and thousands of years. So people have figured out what is good, what is not good, how to do it right. There's a particular grammar which lets you figure out and that particular art to a certain extent. No one can completely figure out anything. But film is hardly 100 years. So it is very young and very complicated because it's a confluence of all these arts: storytelling, music, dance, performance, everything comes together into a very complicated mixture of art. So it's quite difficult to understand what works and what doesn't work. So I think that also adds to the reason why many films don't do well.
Right. And there are, of course, a whole lot of other issues. For instance, one of the issues that is actually mentioned in movies is, after all, there's your taxes and your expenses, and all that takes a big chunk of whatever you make. And of what is left, the big stars take a whole lot of it. And ultimately, the producer is actually left counting pennies, if at all. Now, the expenses are serious.
That's not how it works. People tend to blame a lot on the stars, but the reason why an audience, a particular person, comes to the theater is because of the hero. It's not because for a light boy, not because for a cinematographer, not because of something else. 95% of the audience come to the theater because there is a certain hero in it. So he will take the major chunk of it. So the hero is not going to take the money. He's not going to hold your collar and grab you out of your pocket. No, he says, "This is my remuneration. So if it works for you, you work it. If it doesn't work for you, you stay away from it." You can't just jump into the project without any understanding of the market, without understanding the nature of films, and then cry on saying, "No, the heroes are taking a major chunk of it." That's not the right way to put it.
So is there something to do with the Indian audience and pulls them in? That's really the point. The reason is this true of the Western audience also, that they, or is it just the Indian thing? Is it a very Indian thing that we need one big hero, one big Baahubali kind of guy, who pulls us in kind?
No, it's not we need a hero. That's how it is. How the audience, we should look at from the perspective of the audience. Why does a particular person spend 200 rupees, 100 rupees, spend 4 or 5 hours of his time, go to the theater and watch a film? For what reason? He is not obviously going to do any kind of social service. He wants to get entertained he needs to get the money worth. He believes that particular hero is going to give him his money's worth. So he goes to the theater.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's how it works. That's how it works. I don't know about the Western world. I think it is the same there, but the hero worship is a bit more here in India, more than a Western audience. We have a little bit more of hero worship. So our heroes take a little bit more of the pie.
One other thing that was apparent, I just didn't know when I was looking up some of these things. In 5 years' time, apparently the number of screens actually came down from 12,000 to 9,000. This is pre-COVID, by the way.
Yes.
So the distribution thing is also not really aligned. It's very difficult for people to actually distribute their shows, and it's quite possible that there's some people actually have a stronger stranglehold. In fact, Mr. Dasari was saying this, having a stranglehold on distribution, production, the entire chain. So it's probably very difficult. Why are the screens going down in a country that is mad for entertainment?
We can't blame one single thing for the thing going down. One of the reasons is that in few sections there is a monopoly of theater chains going on. That is one section. Other section also is that the real estate value of the theaters is going much higher than the amount of monies they can collect when a film runs. No, the real estate value, if you just let it out to make it a Kalyana Mandapam, or you just tear it down and make a shopping complex, you'll be getting more money out of it, rather than running a film. Because especially when the success rate of the films is low, you tend to lose, you get very less money, or you tend to lose money as an exhibitor. Whereas if you just do it for some other business, you will make more money. So that is one of the main reasons why theaters are closing down, especially in BNC centers. And also the government rules which limit the ticket pricing also doesn't make it viable for the theaters to run. The chain somehow manage it because it's a multiplex chain, and even if they lose money somewhere, they get it somewhere else. They go for public issue. The multiplex chains somehow make money. The multiplex chains are increasing. The single theaters in BNC centers are going down. So that's the scenario pre-COVID.
Okay. One of the things, I remember the first time I heard of, we didn't know those words at that time. I was a kid at that time. And the word I know now is merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
First time I saw this actually when my aunts were wearing what were called Love in Tokyos, which was basically those hair bands, which when the movie was released, they had two balls like this, which was very cute actually. And most women used to have two plates. So that was the first time I saw anything called, merchandising. They didn't do it deliberately, I suspect. In fact, they didn't do it. I think somebody else did it. And the next thing I saw was actually Bobby clips, hair clips, and so on. That was the second time I heard of it. And the real big one I heard was Maine Pyar Kiya, which had those caps, which had friend written on them. Now that the boy and the girl were signaling to each other, obviously, in the movie. Now outside the hall also there were lots of able young-bodied men and women who wanted to signal each other. So the caps were a rage outside.
Yeah.
So I believe they made as much more money as the movie. The movie itself made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So how good are Indians actually at merchandising? Because one of the reasons why we don't monetize as much, possibly, because we see probably ticket sales as the only thing. I'm not talking about Red Chilies or Rajamouli or Karan Johar. Again, I'm talking about the entire works. I'm sure you work it out pretty well. I'm sure you do it pretty well. But the run-of-the-mill, the usual things, are they poor at actually looking at all the sources of revenue? Like, let's say.
Okay, let me. It's quite a big question. Let me try to give whatever I know. Comparing it with Hollywood and Indian film industries. See, in Hollywood, it is pretty organized. The whole franchising part of it, the merchandising part of it, it is quite organized. So when you are, say, creating a product, let's say you are doing a kind of a Spider-Man movie, right? Making the movie, getting the money out of the movie is one part of it. They immediately look at what are the branches that can be exploited out of it.
Yes,
Can you make storybooks? Can you make comics? Can you make TV shows? Can you make any events out of it? Then what kind of products can you make? T-shirts, caps, boxes, or any special toys? No, all these things are immediately looked. What are the possibilities of branching out? And they one person or one company will be there to look after all these things. All the people who make compass boxes, T-shirts, caps, all are there, and they bring all of them together to the table. They figure out what are the deals, and it happens in a very organized manner. So the product Superman helps the sales of the T-shirts. The T-shirts distribution system, which is wide, helps the marketing of the Spider-Man. Right? It is quite what do you say? One helps the other. Right? Whereas here we have product which is popular. We have distribution system of various other products, but there is no correlation between both of them. I really wonder why it is not happening, because it really helps both the people. It helps the T-shirt makers. I'm just saying T-shirts, for example, T-shirt makers, and it helps the producers to come together, sit together, figure out something. I really don't know why it doesn't happen. We really tried with Baahubali, but we could do just a very little bit. I mean, we did it much better than any of the films that happened in India before. We really went into different branching of the film, but it is still very, very less compared to what they do in West. You were saying Maine Pyar Kiya caps were a big rage. No, but the caps were done by different people. It is not the makers of Maine Pyar Kiya who got monetized for it. Right? It is some people who figured out, okay, just put friends on the cap, my cap will sell more. And he did it there on his own, into that small market of his own, and he made that. Right? It could have been a rage, like it could be done all over the country. The cap maker can benefit, the producer can benefit, but it didn't happen, and it's still not happening today. There are, I mean, numerous films which have a craze in the audience for a little period of time, for a big period of time, and there are products which can be exploited by the name of the film, but we are still very, very lagging very much behind in that aspect.
What do you think augmented reality, virtual reality kind of a thing will do to movie making? You have some thoughts about that? Because it will get into this at some point. Yeah.
It's a different kind of medium. I was quite blown away by virtual reality, the possibilities of how you can make your storytelling much more immersive, much more magnificent with virtual reality. In fact, for Baahubali, we tried a 15-minute virtual reality film. We spent money on it. We spent some 15-16 crores on making a virtual reality shot. We didn't know how to market it. We didn't know how to get our monies back on it. But because it was so such an enriching experience, we went ahead and made it. Not fully to my satisfaction, but we went ahead and but just that the distribution system of that virtual reality is still in a very nascent stage. We're still not able to do it, so we had to stop it at it. But I look at virtual reality as a fantastic medium that is going to come forward. I mean, it can be used in multiple hundreds of ways. I'm just talking in in my point of view as a storyteller, it will be a fantastic tool. But I still don't know how we are going to market or distribute the film through that system. It's a great tool, but still much more things have to be done with it. Augmented reality, I'm not too familiar with.
All right. One of the things, let's go to the softer issues. One of the things that is the accusation that's made against Indian movies as a whole, again, all woods, Bollywood, Hollywood, whatever, they don't have a storyline. A majority of them. This is not one movie, your movie, his movie. That's not what I'm talking about. If you look at these 1,000 movies or 2,000 movies that are made, a whole lot of them don't seem to have a storyline. That's the sense we get. And interestingly, for a country that's told the longest poem in the world called Mahabharata, it's strange that we are not able to engage the audience for 2.5 hours with a good story. And the audience are telling you they're voting with their feet. I don't think they can do more. There are already a whole lot of movies are flopping. You can't do more than that. They're actually, in some sense, rejecting what we have. Where do you think the problem lies?
See, it's not just India. The percentage of success of films is equally bad in Hollywood, in Western films, in European films. The success rate is the same, whether it is Japanese films, whether it's Chinese films, whether it's Indian films, whether it is Hollywood films. The success rate is only 10%. So it's as simple as that. Only 10% of people are able to write a story, make it in an engaging way for the audience to come and enjoy the film. The 90% of the people are just not able to engage the audience. As simple as it.
Right. Just one other thing, and this is one other thing that seems to have deteriorated over a period of time, or I don't know if it has something to do with an old hag like me. Dialogue. I see serious deterioration actually in the dialogue, in the way, they just don't hold. I mean, I remember 60s, 70s Hindi movies. The dialogue was much tighter, much better actually, even in a very ordinary movie. We used to akal pe parda pad gaya. The kind of beautiful Hindi we used to hear. I don't hear that. Jis raste se nahi jana, uska naam kya lena. Why should we talk about things? I'm deliberately giving a Hindi thing simply because the audience might be much more familiar.
So I can't comment on Hindi because I don't speak Hindi. I don't understand Hindi.
Fine. Let me come to Telugu. All right, let's do this. Anchors, actors, actresses in Telugu are not able to say Badha properly. Adima Badha. At least this they should be able to do. I mean, what's the problem? Poor pronunciation, poor dialogue, simply not holding. You get this feeling, or is it just a feeling from this side?
No. There are two aspects in your question, Mr. Murthy. One is the pronunciation of the language not being proper. Second one is a dialogue being not written in a proper way. They're two completely separate things.
Both are there.
For the language not being uttered in a proper way, the problem is that the Telugu medium or the local regional medium is being looked upon for decades. The problem didn't appear overnight. Whole lot of schools are taking down Telugu as a subject. Telugu medium as a subject has been taken down. Telugu is not being taught. We are taught that Telugu is not important. I'm talking about Telugu states. So we are being taught when Telugu is not important, then how can you learn the language? Kids don't read Telugu. Even if they speak at home, they read it in English. They don't know the Vattulu that you are talking about, Badha, they don't know that. Villi, they don't know the difference between la and la. They're not taught from the childhood. How can you expect them to immediately grasp it and say in a film? I'm not just talking about the film. I'm talking as a society in whole. Let me tell you, whatever happens in the society, the films reflect that. If your actors are not speaking proper Telugu, that means the society is not speaking proper Telugu. Whatever happens there reflects here. That's how art is. It reflects the condition of the society is reflected in the art. Film is a confluence of all the arts, so you see that much more in films. Second thing is the dialogue itself not being written properly. That is, again, that depends on the taste. There are some fantastic lines written even now, every day. They're fantastic one-liners, two-liners, lengthy conversation, meaningful conversations happen in some films, not all the films. Same way, if you look at old films, there are films which had conversations, everything, and there are also a whole lot of films which the conversation is very bad as it is today. I don't think it is deteriorating in that aspect. It might change its color depending on how people speak. You don't speak so lengthily today. The conversation that happens in 10 lines in olden days will happen in 2 lines today. That is how, as people, that we changed. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Right. I was asked to hand over the baton at 3:35, so I'll do so quickly.
Okay.
I want your last comment on this. I would have loved to continue, but then all good things and bad should come to an end. So yeah, just see, I've made a Dobby list of what's going on right now in movies. Half the movies made unreleased, half the films that come out bomb, number of screens going down, lead actors. You answered many of them. It's not as if
Yes.
you didn't answer. I'm just listing all of them.
Okay.
Lead actors getting most of the money, marginal merchandising, weak financing, weak storyline, poor dialogue, weak characters, people not able to speak, not just Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, everywhere the story is the same. Yeah. And then there are issues like, we didn't even go to the other thing, like, for instance, there is back scratching and Bhai Bhatija, Mama Macha, everybody in the film, and, the number of those, people who are related to each other, just far too many in films, like politics. Now, if you look at all these things together,
I understand the last one.
The last one I said is, okay, let me put it this way. Sunstroke. One kind of sunstroke you get when you are in sun. The other kind of sunstroke happens to you when you are a director or a producer, or because your son has to be influenced. Your daughter has to be influenced. So if you look at today, 2020, the number of sons and daughters and all those people are even back scratching, whatever, all the relatives, many more than what they were, let's say, in the 50s and 60s. They were always there. The Kapoors were there, but there were many others. So if you look at all these things, and then Netflix having a flank attack on this, so what do you think is the future of this industry? It will continue like this, or is there any change? Or people will keep coming and going, so it's okay. I mean, so be it.
Yeah. No, the first thing is, I don't see what's the problem with the sons and daughters coming into the film field. If you have a kirana shop, 90% of the time your son or daughter will take off the kirana shop. If you're a doctor, it is the same thing. If you do some kind of business, it's the same thing. So what's the problem with sons and daughters in coming into the same industry? Which it happened because from the childhood you grow up in an atmosphere, and you look at the things that's happening around you. You get influenced by your parents, and you tend to come into the films or any other business or any other occupation.
Does it happen abroad? Sorry for interrupting, but does it happen abroad? The same thing.
That's probably because sons and daughters don't stay with parents for too long in abroad. I don't know. I'm just saying that. That's how it happens here, not just in films, everywhere. And if a producer keeps his son, let's say the son is not as good that he's supposed to be, and he makes a film and loses money, he's losing his money, not anyone else. Right? So what's the problem with it? I don't understand that.
As a whole, if you put all this, that's one aspect. But if you put all these factors together,
okay,
does it tell us something about the industry, or this is the way it's okay? I mean, this is true of most other industries, so this is the way it will go on.
No. I think I answered your questions, which I told you a problem which you told is not a problem. And in the end, you are saying all these are problems. No, all of them are not problems. Some of them are. Some of them are problems. Some of them are not. Every industry has its own share of problems, and we try to figure it out. Obviously, we are not going to live with it, but we are forced to live with them, not wantedly living with them. Each person, each company, each set of people try to overcome the problems in a manner that they can. Some get solved. There will be many problems which are getting solved. Some of them are not. So we are living with them. We don't want them. but we are forced to live with them. Hopefully, we'll figure out how to get over them.
Thank you very much. That's from my side, because at 3:35 I said I'll hand it over to them. Shivanjali, thank you very much. And Shivanjali, you can take over, and if you have any audience questions, you can do that, and we can bring curtains then on this. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor. So it was an honor listening to you. Our audiences have filled the chats with the questions, so we'll come up with them one by one. So the first question is honestly from my side, because I'm a huge fan too. I see that you're wearing RRR, the ICA that you're wearing. So, sir, the one question that came to my mind was, since there are a lot of COVID restrictions going on, theaters are not opening up, the people are really looking forward to it. But are you going to wait for the COVID restrictions to get relaxed before releasing RRR, or can we expect to see the same on some OTT platform?
No, obviously the film RRR is a very big budget film, and it's not just that fact, but it's a fact that it's been made with the theater audience in mind. All the scenes, all the developments are made with keeping the how the theater audience are going to enthralled with those scenes or songs or whatever. It doesn't make sense for me to release on an OTT. I have to release in the theaters, and obviously we'll wait for the COVID restrictions to lift, hoping that they will be lifting off within a very short period.
That just gives us one more reason to look forward to post-COVID times. So the next question that we have from the audiences is, Baahubali memes were parodies and they were a rage on social media. So what are your views on memes? And do you think they are a genuine channel to create buzz among the social media users?
See, memes are what do you say, are a reflection of the audience's I'm sorry, I'm not able to get the right word, interest on that particular film. No, if they're very much eager to see the film, that interest will come out in different forms of memes. It might be funny, it might be emotional, it might be degrading sometimes, but it doesn't matter. The interest, the number of memes that are being generated means that much of interest is there in the audience when they make the memes for themselves. And then there are memes that are done by the production itself as a means of increasing their as a part of their publicity. It's a good way of publicizing your film. Yes.
Hello, sir. Being a fanboy, I have watched Bahubali like tens of times. It had grandeur of cinematography, love, action, and most importantly, comedy as well. So, sir, when are we going to see that again? And I can actually see RRR ID card like around your neck. So, is it going to be RRR or something else is coming for us?
It's RRR that's going to come. Obviously, that's the film that I'm working on. So the RRR is going to come next in October. Yes. Bahubali, no, actually, the story that we have written ended with Bahubali 2. There are different branches that we are working upon. You'll hear about it when we are ready with it. Okay.
I think it got stopped. So, sir, the next question we have is, do we ever see Baahubali or another Indian fantasy superhero reach DC or Marvel levels?
How to put it? See, the reach basically depends upon the number of audiences that the film can reach to. All right. Hollywood films have been reaching across the world for decades, right? So there are more number of audiences who watch the film. We don't have that kind of audiences. So it will take a long time for us to, I'm not talking about the creative part of it, I'm just talking the distribution part of it. To reach that level, it will take one hell of a time. Creatively, as we are improving, as we are learning new things, probably in much lesser time, we'll try to reach that level.
Right, sir. So the next question is, do you think an Indian movie with a grand release and its collection success like Bahubali, or a Korean movie like Parasite with a concept that stood on top of the world success? So, like, do you think these concept movies would work in India as well?
Yeah, they will work. Concept films will work. They have been working. We have been seeing fantastic films made in Malayalam, in Tamil, in some films in Telugu, in Hindi. Everywhere people are making concept-based films. They're fantastic films. See, Parasite, because it won an Oscar, we know about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't even hear about it. Right? Very few people would have seen it. I think if you keep the Oscars aside, winning an Oscar, that part of it aside, if you take the level of films in India, there are no lesser than Parasite in terms of concept-based films, in terms of cinematic expression, in terms of quality, in terms of performances, in terms of everything. I think we have equally fantastic films being made in India.
Are cliffhangers, for example, when you left that suspense that why did Katappa kill Bahubali? So are these the ultimate tool for audience retention, which ensuring automatic sales for the next release?
No, cliffhanger is just one small part of it. The impact your characters, the characters in the film that create the impact that they create on the audiences, that is the main factor for people to relate themselves with the film and wait for the next chapter to come. Now, it is the impact that is more important. These cliffhangers help it a bit, but that is not the main reason.
Okay.
So one last question. Do you think the distinction between art house and commercial cinema is still a thick line, or do you think it is blurred with the advent of OTT?
That depends again on how you differentiate between art film and commercial film. Right? My biggest example would be Shankarabharanam. It is supposed to be an art film made with music as a backdrop. A 50-year-old man is a hero, and there is no love relationship between the heroine and the old man. Very arty, but it is a fantastic movie, right? It's a big commercial hit. So if you look at Shankarabharanam, what would you call? Would you call it a commercial film or would you call it an art film? It's very difficult because it's commercially super successful, and it has fantastic artistic values to it. So to say that if the distinction between art and commercial films is diminishing, first we have to define what is an art film and what is a commercial film. It's very difficult for me. I can't differentiate. Now, I don't know. I basically look at a film whether I like it, whether I don't like it. I can't differentiate between art film and a commercial film. But again, like we said, we were talking before, if it's a concept-based film, no, the success rate of concept-based films targeting a certain audience films, they are making much more money than before. That's a very good sign. That's a fantastic sign.
Right. So with this, I think we're coming to the close of this session. I'd like to thank you on behalf of entire IMB fraternity and also on behalf of Team Vista. I extend my gratitude to you to take out time and grace this occasion with your presence. We couldn't thank you enough for being so candid about the filmmaking process. And the entire community, as well as the wider audiences that have been joining us from all over the country, have had their fan moments today by hearing you address us. You mentioned the use of technology, of your viewpoints, and it was all very inspirational to hear. And you've already made a mark in the international level. And we wish you all the best for RRR.
Thank you so much. It's been nice to be with you and able to meet you all virtually.
The pleasure is all ours, sir. I'd also like to thank Professor Vaila Murthy for providing us all the support in organizing this session and making it a success. As a small token of our gratitude, we have made a small contribution to Enrich Life's Foundation in each of your names. This contribution has helped serve 3 square meals to 10 children impacted adversely by COVID-19. I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's knowledgeable session. I'm sure that you would have had a lot to learn and had fun. I thank everyone once again. Have a great week ahead.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for coming, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.